Morgan Pacma, Editor-in-Chief of City and State, and this is Last Look. Today, our guest is the President and CEO of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, Carlo Scissura. Carlo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thrilled to be here.
So this has been a tremendous year for Brooklyn politically, with so many of our top elected officials now being Brooklynites. What do you think the effect that's going to have on the borough?
So, you know, it's funny, I've said this before, I think for the last decade, we've seen Brooklyn become the cool, hip place, the artists, the culture, the restaurants, etc.
Of course, we live there.
We live there, of course.
Right.
The politics caught up. And I think it's not just now about, well, Brooklyn is the coolest, hottest place in the world. It's also now the political power of New York City. And I think, obviously, with Mayor de Blasio coming in, Tish James as the public advocate, Scott Stringer needs to move to Brooklyn now. I've told him that.
Indeed.
Indeed. And I think you're going to see a continued renaissance of elected officials growing out of Brooklyn, which is exciting.
And how, with so many new members of the council, how is the Brooklyn delegation going to change in the new council?
I think it's exciting. I mean, I think you have new members, Carlos Menchaca being one of them who worked for me at Borough Hall, Antonio Reynoso, some of these new council members who grew up literally being staffers, understanding the inner workings of government. I'm thrilled because I have a relationship with all of them, obviously from working in Borough Hall. So I think you're going to see a very activist council, one that is grassroots, one that is really focused on community preservation, making sure that small business and local issues get done, and moving away from kind of the old-time politics of New York City, and that's exciting.
At one point, you were the heir apparent for your
Yes.
old boss's seat, Marty Markowitz. Do you have any regrets about not jumping into the race for borough president?
You know, it's funny. So I guess I exited that race in April of 2012. And only one day that I wake up and say, what if? And that was primary day. And then I got to work and I was so busy. And I said, you know what? This is the best career decision I ever made. No regrets. I'm looking forward to working with our new borough president, Eric Adams. We have seen that the Brooklyn Chamber is really a borough-wide engine of growth. When I started, we had 705, 710 members. We're at 1,450. We have just increased our staff, doubled in size. We're helping small businesses navigate health insurance. We're across the borough. We're in every neighborhood. We are now the go-to organization for everything Brooklyn. And that's what I wanted to do at the borough presidency. So I'm doing it at the chamber, and I love it.
I mean, you really haven't been at the helm of the chamber for that long. How have you been able to exponentially grow it at such a pace?
You know, I think we are messaging it better. We are letting people know and businesses know what the value is. We are in communities we never were before. We're not just a downtown Brooklyn chamber. We are a borough-wide chamber. We're in Sheepshead Bay, we're in Bay Ridge, we're in Canarsie, we're in Park Slope, we're in Williamsburg. And so the outreach in community level has been great. We are working in, 12 or 13 neighborhoods, helping get merchants groups started. We're helping the 7th Avenue merchants form a bid in Park Slope. We're helping the 13th Avenue merchants in Dyker Heights. So we are growing, and as we grow and go out there and sell the message, obviously businesses are saying, hey, it makes sense. So we're a one-stop shop for everything.
And the Brooklyn Chamber, if I'm correct, is the largest chamber in the state,
Yes,
right?
we are the largest chamber in the state.
What does that mean? Does that give you a greater leverage in your aims?
Well, I think, look, we have a great relationship with the Assembly, with the Senate, with the governor's office, with the council, with the administration. I think when you tell an elected official, and I worked for an elected official for many years, we are an organization with 1,500 members, with X number of staff, and we're doing A, B, C, D, E programming. Clearly they're going to listen to you. And I think one thing that was very exciting to me is that we put in we answered an RFP to host the Chamber Alliance of New York State convention in June, and they've never been downstate. It's always somewhere upstate or in the Hudson Valley, and for the first time ever, we're hosting it in Brooklyn. So I think it shows what the Brooklyn brand is, what the chamber has become, and now we're going to have every president of every chamber of commerce in the state in Brooklyn in June, and that sends a strong message to everyone in the state.
So what are your principal priorities then, as in addition to growing the membership?
So growing the membership, but then helping the membership, helping them grow, helping them make money, helping them find the right staff, helping them market themselves, helping Brooklyn market itself. We just kicked off at our annual meeting something called Explore Brooklyn, which is the first real borough-wide one-stop shop for everything. So if you're looking for an event, you go on it. If you're looking for a restaurant, you go on it. If you're looking to see what's happening in Ditmas Park on Thursday night, go on it. If you're a tourist coming in to Brooklyn, we've got it all for you. If you're a Brooklynite looking for something to do, we've got it all. If you're the editor of the best political newspaper in New York and you want to know where to go to dinner one night, go on it. You'll see what's happening in Brooklyn. So these are all things that we're excited about. It's continuing the boosterism of Brooklyn, continuing the voice of Brooklyn, but taking it one step further and saying, okay, how do we now take the coolness, the hipness, the greatness of Williamsburg and Park Slope and Boerum Hill, et cetera, but also bring it out to central Brooklyn and East New York and Canarsie and Bensonhurst and say, you know what, these neighborhoods should see job growth and should see unemployment go down and should see neighborhood retail strips explode. So we want to message the chamber as a real borough-wide entity that serves the needs of the entire borough. And then where there are gaps, where there are places where the businesses are not doing great, we go in, we help them, we work with the local community, the local elected officials, and try and create business opportunities out there.
You are a political animal, a real junkie for insider politics. What are you trying to accomplish from a political standpoint with the chamber? I mean, you said you applied for RFP. Is there specific legislation that you're trying to enact? Is there changes in policy that you would like to see?
Well, look, I think, 2013 we had a couple of priorities. One was winning the Navigator program from the state, so we worked very hard on that. We are in the mix with some EDC proposals to really help transform the borough. When I got to the chamber, I asked one of the staff that had been there, so if I'm Assemblyman X and I call up the new president and say, how many members do I have in my district that are chamber members? We didn't know. Now, any elected official throughout Brooklyn will know who is getting Brooklyn HealthWorks, who is a chamber member. We've been able to really target by community board, by assembly district, by Senate district. So as you said, I am a political junkie and a political animal. I am very happy to work with our elected officials. They're friends of mine. I have close relationships with them. And yeah, we'll be knocking on their doors, and I'll be spending a lot of time in Albany, as I did last year, and making sure that if there is legislation that affects small businesses, we're on top of it. If there's programs and money, honestly, that's out there, that we are applying for it and winning it, because it is a competitive world out there, and our members and my board expects me to be number one, so we got to be number one.
In recent years, it seems like in terms of development that the focal points in Brooklyn have been the waterfront and the Atlantic Yards project and just kind of the transformation of downtown. What do you see as the next frontiers in Brooklyn in terms of development? I
think development is very important, and I think you will see in the next few years the Atlantic Yards project be built out, but I say keep your eye on 4th Avenue. It's been a priority of mine to really redevelop the stretch of 4th Avenue from downtown Brooklyn to Bay Ridge. We call it Atlantic Avenue to the Atlantic Ocean. Keep your eye on Sunset Park. Incredible, incredible development. What Industry City and Salmar Properties have planned for there. It's over 6 million square feet of development space. So Sunset Park, I would say Southern Brooklyn, there are pockets that you're going to see explode. I think you'll see new development in Sheepshead Bay. I think Greenpoint is on the verge of also exploding. And then, go into Bed-Stuy and East New York. And I think with the right programming and the right focus by the Chamber and the de Blasio administration and the Eric Adams administration working together, we can see good development and smart development happening out there. So,
are you also trying to recruit businesses to move to Brooklyn? And if so, what is your pitch?
So the pitch is simple. Where else do you get a creative and talented workforce that wants to live in the borough, B, closeness, proximity to 15, 20 million people, great subway access, great cultural amenities, great restaurants, great schools if you have a family, everything. So why wouldn't you want to open there? So we are pitching, I had lunch the other day with a restaurateur from the Hamptons and said, you got to be in Brooklyn. The Hamptons is not good enough for you. You're better than that, so come to Brooklyn. And we're doing that with big companies, small companies, mom and pop stores, restaurants. My favorite is when I lure them from Manhattan to Brooklyn, and that's a big message that we're sending. So, but yeah, we want them, and we don't want them to open just in Williamsburg or in Greenpoint or downtown Brooklyn. I tell them go to Gowanus. Gowanus, by the way, hot neighborhood of the future. It's already happening. A lot of interesting things happening there, but you will see increased development and activity, and so it's exciting.
What lessons have you taken away from your time at the Commerce that you feel like is applicable for all chambers across the state?
Go after things that are out there and be different, because the days of a Chamber of Commerce where you get together once a month and have drinks are over. And although those are important things, for example, we as every chamber used to have after-work mixers. And I went to a few of them when I started, and they were the most boring things I ever went to. And I said, okay, we're throwing that out, and we're going to call it the Chamber Visits. So now the Chamber visits different neighborhoods. So we visited Sheepshead Bay. We visited Brighton Beach, and we partnered with the Brighton Beach bid, and we did it in a Russian restaurant. We're doing Chamber Visits Coney Island next week. We're going to be in Applebee's with the Coney Island Alliance. In December, so we're going to go to Dyker Heights at Boulevard Books, which is an independent bookstore, visit Dyker Heights, and then we're going to take a walk and see the Christmas lights. So you got to do different things to grab people in. You have to let your members know that you can help market them, help showcase them. We started a daily email now that hits 20,000 emails every day at 3 o'clock. We're an hour before you, but that's okay. You have to change. If you don't change, you will be a chamber of a few staff and not many members. If you change and you're willing to try new things, then you become a chamber of 38 full-time staffers and 1,500 members.
Carlo Scissura, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
And that's it for this episode of Last Look. For more episodes, please join us on the web at cityandstateny.com.